Good afternoon, 12:30, everybody. Everyone will be slowly probably getting in on the block here today. The alerts are notifications going out a little bit slow, but they're getting there. They're getting there. How you guys doing? Hello, Crispy. Everybody's on board here on this this lunch hour on this Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Whew, it just seems like a long week. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk. As you guys may have figured out, we tend to do these later on Friday, so make sure to keep that in mind on Fridays that usually it's around 12:30-ish that there will be an update if I'm here. Most of the time I'm here. Otherwise, we're going to be dealing with an update on the storm setup for today, which is already active out. And we'll get into tomorrow night. Where do we stand there for that? In general, how the weekend's looking. And then next week, we do have an alert day out for Tuesday, as that has enough kick to it for at least right now to monitor it. And then we'll get to the good news. And I do have some good news. In fact, gooder news. That's the thing. Gooder news than what I had yesterday. So if you guys are ready for it, you excited? All right, before I get to that, just wanted to mention, let me bring up the screen, that we get into the earthquake reports, not necessarily here into wave country, but down into Central America near Guatemala. A 7.3 quake took place. This was roughly about 90 minutes ago that I first saw the alert come out. It took a while to get some of the data on the shake map, but in general, it's pretty elevated on the shake map along the coast. And there is a tsunami threat as well off the coast there of Guatemala. So we are monitoring that. It was a fairly deep quake, more than about 17 miles down. But look at all the aftershocks that have taken place, several just since the last 90 minutes. So it continues to shake there. And that's right along the Pacific Rim there as you head into Central America. So we'll monitor that, all right, as we head through the rest of the day. It's been the Earth has been quite angry as of late. Speaking of angry, we've had an angry looking sky here on the SkyTrack camera. At times, this is looking from Park Place, downtown, Waterfront Plaza, looking toward Clark County, Indiana. We've had that downpour that's been on the radar for a while. Carrie, I saw your comment about how it was giving you guys a good dose of rain this morning. And we had rain on the radar for a while with that downpour, and it collapsed. Now we got different areas of showers that have been popping, but that one popped before the sun came up today. That one was on the radar. So out of the gate fairly quick, right? So what I'm going to do, first off on temperature, want to mention this, and I'm only going to mention it now because it will change based on the downpours. You can tell by looking just at the numbers. We're 89 in Louisville. We may have already touched 90. We'll find out here soon. But 85 in Bardstown, but you get Salem, it's 80 because of rain-cooled air. Same in Jeffersonville. Same into LaGrange in the 70s. But when it's not raining, it will certainly be a very humid setup. The humidity is driving how it feels today, and it's up there. Look at that dew point in Seymour, 78 degrees, 79 in Bedford, 75 in Louisville, 81 into Owensboro. And again, that's going to we get to lower 80s in Louisville, that would be a record. So, at least tie a record of where we've ever been before. So it doesn't happen very often. I don't see that happening. I see it certainly staying elevated though in West Kentucky. That is where it's absolutely just a steam bath there in West Kentucky and tri-state area, southwest areas of Indiana. So when you combine that with the temperature, it feels like a 100 in Tell City, 101 in Jasper, 99 in Louisville, North Vernon 100. But again, you get to Jeffersonville 79 because of the rain cooled air. So either way, it's not exactly a pleasant Friday afternoon. There's not really good news anywhere. I mean, if you're not dealing with the heat and humidity, you're dealing with a storm. And flash flooding will be a concern with that much moisture in the air today. And it's been lighting up for a while. The cumulus clouds have all filled in. There's no severe weather taking place. Could we get a warning or two today? Yes, it's possible, mainly east of 65. But in general, we could run into a few gusty winds. I think it's going to be more likely we're going to get flood advisories, and maybe one or two flash flooding warnings could come out, especially, again, east of 65, where you're going to have the heavier showers and storms to take advantage of the rainfall rate, which, by the way, is over 2 inches now, in some cases approaching 2.5 inches per hour, which means you can get that type of rainfall in an hour's time. And if they don't move very much or you get more than one, you can easily end up with 3-4 inches of rain here today. That's going to be very localized. That's not going to be the norm. The norm will likely be more of a half-inch type of mark, but some of you could get some fairly excessive totals. Like we saw yesterday, it can certainly influence the travel in the area, so please take it easy. Traveling around town, watch for hydroplaning. With that kind of a rainfall rate, it will not have enough time to exit the freeway and get into the drain to get off the road. It will just pool on the road, and your tires will lose contact with the roadway. If you're going too fast, that's not good because you don't have a limited amount of time to get control back of the steering wheel again to get traction back in play. So take it slow, reduce your speed, because if you lose contact with the pavement, you need to have enough reaction time to get control of the car or your vehicle that you're going to be in. All right. So just in this kind of setup, even if you haven't had rain for a while, it doesn't matter. Rate is high enough. Hydroplaning will happen, especially in an urban environment. So let's get into a tour. Let's start you first into Indiana, where we've had downpours now moving back into Bedford, Indiana. Getting another round of some rain nearby. The one downpour in Salem collapsed. It produced an outflow that's like a backward C shape across Indiana, Clark County, all the way down to Louisville. So what that has done is it's created an outflow boundary, a mini cold front, right along the Ohio River, which is the reason why Oldham County, your storm chances are going up now. There will be going up in Louisville here very soon, all the way down into Harrison County, back into Meade. And the recovery time here for Paoli will be fairly quick. You'll be able to rebound and get more downpours to sneak back in from your west later on today. So in the short term, it's only going to be where the outflow really has been pushing into the Ohio River. And we got some downpours too in central Kentucky. So I'm not ignoring you guys around Bardstown, Hart County, all the way in Greene, Taylor. The heaviest one has been this one here in Lincoln County that is at times getting close to severe limits, actually heading toward I-75. They're off the east, not too far away from Buc-ee's. Okay, so anyway, the severe risk for today, it just updated. Let's take a look at that. It's marginal. It looks exactly the same as the previous update. So it's roughly, again, along and east of 65 is where you've got your chance for mainly downburst winds with the cells. Not exactly an organized squall line threat or anything like that, and not even a trail threat. This is just downburst winds we're talking about here. The winds are too weak otherwise for tornadoes. But the trade-off, if you guys remember from the last time we were dealing with flash flood warning potential, is the trade-off is you get flash flooding when you have weak wind to move things along. So that's the case today. There'll be drifting, but that's about the best way I can describe it. Now, tomorrow's severe risk, which is still about 50 minutes away from updating, the last update we had was a slight risk for those of you from Seymour to about Madison, including parts of Carrollton, as we head into tomorrow night, especially, is the main outlook for this, and a marginal risk for everyone else. Don't think this is going to change a whole lot. The only thing that could maybe flip is going to be the western side of this may drop a bit more here. That's possible. Otherwise, I think at the moment it should be a similar map, and I'll explain why. But new data is rolling in now, so there's been some modest changes with it, and there will be more tomorrow as we get into the show itself. But you can see the northeast part of the region, you get into the upper Ohio Valley. That's where your greatest potential will be on severe because you're closer to the wind field located moving out of Niagara Falls there. Okay, so let's show you for a couple of pieces of data. I'll start with the graph model. I'm going to show you two models. If you're new to watching the blog here, I'll go through the modeling, pay attention where you're at on the map, look at the clock at the top left in the banner. Hopefully that will answer your question you may have about timing for the weekend. So pay attention, at least know your relationship to where you're at from Louisville. And I'm going to show you another model after this, and then I'll get to some of your questions you may have. If I haven't answered them in the next few minutes here, then I'll get to them. And by the way, you can, if you're watching streaming, you're like, how do I ask a question? You can on social media. Facebook, Twitch, even is option, X and YouTube. Fair enough? Okay. So let's dive into our graph model. It's our in-house model, and it shows the storm coverage today. It really picks out the east of 65, doesn't it? Corridor where you got more of the higher, what we call DBZs, or your zone of heaviest of rain showing up, showers and storms. But in general, everybody's got a chance at something here today. It's just not a guarantee. So we have to keep it about 40% for now. But if you get it, you're going to get it, and you're going to know it. It'll be pretty noticeable fairly quick outside. It still can get some pool time in here. You're not going to get a lot of sun, so it's going to be a cloudy pool day, but still it's so humid. You probably just want to stay in the water anyway. But if you hear that thunder, get inside. These are heat based. So we get into tonight, they just, that was interesting. Let me rewind that because this is a new run on the graph. I just noticed. Look what happens at the storms in Lexington and Richmond. Watch what happens when they do the downburst action and they create the outflow. Then I don't know if this is right, but it shows the outflow building backwards into Louisville and Bullitt County at 10 o'clock tonight. Interesting. We'll look at another model in a second to show you the comparison. But this is the new update that just came in showing that. Now, I think it's going to change often. And the reason why it is like bumper car action again, in a sense, you don't know where the downburst will be and whether or not they are strong enough of a wind that comes out of them to produce that much of a drift to get to the city or not. But you see how you don't necessarily know which way they're going to go. We just know we're in that zone, and we know we got until midnight. After midnight, our risk goes down quite a bit. All right, Saturday, a lot you've been asking about Saturday, and overall, I don't see a lot of a trigger on Saturday. You could get your pop-up storms similar to what we sort of have today, although today there is a bit of a trigger. It's a very weak little wave passing through the Ohio Valley right now that's helping to lift the air. It's not very strong at all, but it's enough. Tomorrow, there isn't one. So tomorrow during the day, other than an isolated pop-up that could develop, I don't see a lot of action here on the radar for your Saturday, but it will be a hot day and another humid one. Not a lot of change there. Now, as we get into Saturday night, here's where things get a little questionable. We mentioned the front that's going to be going through areas around Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. As it moves on by the wind belt, there will be a bit of a tailpipe extending all the way back into Illinois. Now, initially, I don't know how much coverage of storms we're going to be able to track here into Indiana. It's behind the banner, but Indiana into Ohio because of the wildfire smoke. That will likely taper a lot of what happens initially on the radar for Saturday afternoon. So that's going to be a little tough because typically we could see a line develop and then we can track it, right, heading our way. But this is going to be fairly last minute. I think it's going to take until it gets to the other side of the smoke, which will likely put it between Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis. And at that point, they may then fire. So it may be last minute that we actually see a line of storms here form to our north. That's not the only issue. Issue number 2 is another little weak wave that'll be passing from here in Illinois toward Louisville at the same time. It will try to beat the front. It will not. They will meet up, though, close together as we into Saturday night. But could this be enough to fire up some stronger storms Saturday evening near sunset, a little earlier than the front will be? The front's going to be late, but the prefrontal downpours that could develop could be a little closer to sunset. If they were to develop, hail actually could be a threat for the first hour or two of their lifespan. Otherwise, localized heavy rain and gusty winds, yada, yada, yada. Just don't be caught off guard by this. Again, if you're west of Louisville, they're a little more of a risk because you'll be closer to the little wave movement out of Illinois toward Evansville. But that's something to watch as we head into the night. All right. Then we get into late evening. Now, this particular model, by the way, this is a new run, so I'll see if it has it. Let's see. Yeah, not really. Doesn't really develop much of anything. You see a hint of the wave, but it doesn't pop much, right? Now, when it comes to the front, it fires the storms, but oh, look at there. Just like parting the Red Sea, you get a gap that is formed right in between the two lines. You get a line of gusty storms into Illinois and Ohio, but nothing in the middle. And then you get the expansive fees. Anyway, as we head into tonight or a Saturday night, we'll just see how much that line can hold together as it drops in around 10 o'clock-ish. But no doubt, if you are in Seymour and Madison, just be aware you'll be closer to the front. It will eventually undercut the front, will undercut the storms to allow for them to be cut off of the pass, you will, at the ground up kind of idea. And that will start to weaken them. In fact, it will likely cause them to fall apart fairly quick as they drop into central Kentucky after midnight into Sunday morning. So it's not a widespread issue at the moment. It looks to be just northeast of Louisville in reference. They'll watch Saturday night. You can see the drop in humidity, too, that happens. But notice this is where you're going to watch for downpours that could react to that boundary that may try to form in the sunrise window of Sunday. Otherwise, most of your action is going to be far southern Kentucky, the way it looks now for Sunday. And while it'll be still very warm, and I would just say hot, it'll be close to 90 on Sunday. It will not be as humid as what Saturday will be. So there will be a drop, but you probably, to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to notice. It's still going to be hot. But your storm chances, not much to talk about on Sunday. So if you're looking for a pool day, really Saturday and Sunday look good. Saturday's just going to be more of a day you're going to sweat. Sunday, not as much. Just a little sweat. It's not as much. Okay. And then after that, the front moves south, and then we are going to get ready for a hot day on Monday. We'll come back around to that. Now, let me show you model number 2. This is more of a close range of the HER. Let's show you this afternoon. First off, it doesn't have anything right now. That's not a good sign. We always say, garbage in, garbage out on models. Well, this isn't a good sign. It has nothing when we know there is something out there right now. But I'll still show it to you anyway. Let's see what it does. We get into this afternoon. It's all late day on its development, but I think it's just the features are too small. The HER model is supposed to be able to sniff that out. For some reason, it's not doing well. Anyway, we get into Saturday. It does have a fairly quiet Saturday. That's fair. We get into Saturday evening. Well, it does have the Illinois batch of storms, a little wave that cells that may form and move toward I-65. Okay, it's got that. And then you start to see behind the banner, all right, there's our cold front. It actually wants to fully connect it compared to the graph that you just saw. Let me get rid of my marks. Drops down at about midnight to 1 a.m., approaching Indiana and 71. They will be weakening, could still have some strong wind with that before the front undercuts them and they just fall apart. So similar storyline, it just gets them a little bit closer to I-64 than the graph did. And the NAM, by the way, I didn't get a chance to show it. Fairly similar on the idea that Southern Indiana and 71. I think that's fair overall for a zone to watch. I-64 is likely to be the crossover point that will likely get to the other side of the story where they fall apart. Cool. Talk about the wildfire smoke. We're going to have to worry about that for us. The only time I think we may get some hints of that, we don't have enough data yet to see long range on smoke, but the upper air pattern would favor, with the cool down that we're talking about for next week, it would favor, it could get caught in that flow and may arrive next week. But I don't see anything like what Detroit has been seeing or anything like that. So nothing in the short term, Doc, but good question. We'll be watching that. All right. So having said that, here is CSU. Now, this is going to be updating here very soon, if it hasn't already, for the severe outlook. Sorry, it's a little off-center there. But anyway, you guys know, technology is great. Here's your threat for Saturday night. Tornado threat, it's not on there. Hail threat's not on there. Wind threat is there, and a bit of an elevated wind threat. And I like what it's doing there because it's sniffing out the late development of when they form on the other side of the smoke. I like how it's doing that. I think that it makes sense to me, but it does take the slight risk down to the Ohio River. And maybe because of the late development that they just have a little further to go to reach us. So that's fair to say that. And then on Sundays, real quick, I'll at least mention Sunday's rain chance. We'll keep that mainly south of Louisville and Southern Kentucky, and I'll keep at least a low end chance up toward the Louisville area, but we may be able to trim that even down. It just depends really on how much does it make it through wave country into Saturday night. So that's really a nowcasting issue, but overall the theme looks to be Southern Kentucky. So I hope that helps somewhat. All right, let me get the radar back up as I get to some of your questions real quick that I can answer in the short term before we get into next week. So fire away. Now, if I miss your question, because there's quite a few of you on here, I apologize. So I may have missed it. Crazy how well the CSU's perform, Chris says. Yes, Chris is out there always chasing. Yeah, Chris, CSU is usually a good precursor too, but SBC is going to do. When you see a trend that holds run after run, usually SBC tends to follow that. SBC loves the NAM, and it kind of lines up to the NAM, so I think it's likely where we're going to see this go. It may be more of an expansion into Indiana. I don't know if they'll take it down to 64 just yet anyway. Getting close. Getting close. Let's see. Any questions on timing? Sunday looks nice. Sunday does look nice, Adam. I mean, it's still going to be a hot day, but you won't be, again, dealing with the high amounts of humidity like today. but you'll still get a heat index in the 90s for sure. Hey, Carrie, what is the severe risk? The severe risk, the type, good question. That's going to be a straight line wind scenario. There's not a lot of turning as far as directional shear for the front. It looks to be all unidirectional, indicating that the turning from the ground up is going to be basically the same direction. So there's not much of a turning. It's more of a speed shear than anything that takes place. And you're going to develop a slight nocturnal inversion too at night off the ground. So that also raises your bases up. So you cut down on the tidal threat a couple of ways there as we end to Saturday night. So I'm not as worried on that. So it looks to be more of a straight line of wind, heavy rain, but they'll be moving fast enough that you won't have as much of a flash flooding issue because they'll be moving so fast. So good question. Thank you, Carrie. Hey, Jason. Hope you're doing well. Beverly's got a pool party at 6:30 in Elizabeth, Indiana today. Well, you're getting some of the downpours out of the way in your region right now, but unfortunately, there's still some time to recover. So there'll still be some action out there, Beverly. So I don't think it's going to be completely gone, at least off the radar. There'll be downpours around. It's just a matter of whether they be aiming toward you or not. And unfortunately, I just can't answer that. Even this close in time, a few hours away, I can't. It just depends on how this evolves hour by hour. Just have a way to get notified. I think they're relatively short-lived enough as far as them collapsing that you don't have to deal with it for hours on end. So it may influence just part of your window there, and then you'll recover. But just have a way to get notified for especially lightning. Wave Weather app will do that, and that's important. And then get everybody out of the pool for a while until you stop hearing that alert. Hey, Vanessa, we're going to the Wild Lights tonight at 7:30. Be prepared for rain, absolutely, but I wouldn't cancel. I would not cancel, but I would be ready. And keep in mind, they have several spots, as you know, there at the zoo. So if there were just to be a downpour for a moment, you have a spot to get inside. You may want to walk, look at where the rain is, and then kind of gauge if the dark clouds are moving in. Okay, think I'm going to go toward the Harp Aquarium and go there for a while and hang out. So kind of plan or do the shop and do a little bit of looking around, something like that. If you're able to do that. I know Wild Lights has got a bit of a path you have to go on. I understand that. But if you're able to accommodate, and I'm sure they're going to be fully aware of what's going on. They are really good at monitoring the weather. Amy says we have a fundraiser tonight outside 4 to 8 at Log Still Distillery. What is looking like then? At that point, you will still get some scattered downpours, but you're going to have, it's not going to rain the entire 4 to 8 window. But there will be downpours around, yes. These guys, I mean, they're like freckles. They're all over the place. You can see, just look at the radar. They're kind of just, speckled across Kentucky and Indiana, little clusters. But if you look outside, I would be willing to say that most of you watching right now are not dealing with the storm or any rain right now. So it looks like a lot of them, but they're really only hitting certain localized areas. And the heaviest right now, if I zoom into Louisville, is Oldham County. You guys have got the heaviest. And a little bit of lightning, too, with some of that. Now, Louisville just now starting to build, and we are, again, the heat index is 99. So we are primed here with the heat island that they're going to go up. These are going to increase in Louisville. And if you look carefully, there's a bit of an outflow that passed through J-Town, looks like, not too long ago, a few minutes ago. It's in J-Town, I would say near Election Drive over toward 64 and interchange to the Snyder Freeway. That's where the outflow is. So right in behind that. So right into downtown, the airport, around the zoo for right now, all the way up 71 here. We should get some development here soon that will connect to what's already happening into southern areas of Harrison County. So in Louisville, it's going to increase. This is a good setup to get storms to really blossom in the short term. So I think it's likely here very, very soon. You're welcome, Amy. Not a problem at all. Clouds are dark there, Sean, in the Shelby. Yeah, they are building in your way there. You're ahead of that outflow too. So you're going to see them develop into Shelby too. So there you go. The radar, yes, I'm aware the radar is not working in the Wave Weather app right now. They are aware of that outage. It's affecting almost every weather app, most of them anyway in the country. So they are working on it. So it's out of my hand or anybody's hand here in the building, but they're aware of it. I can tell you that. So I appreciate all the notes, and I'm sorry that we have an active radar data that's down. That's not good, but they're working on it. All right, fair enough. All right, so can you look on Northland radar? I'm sorry, Adam. Yeah, I didn't mean to leave you out, Adam. Poor Adam. You're feeling neglected there, aren't you? Let's get you into Bloomington there. All right, well, it's not looking too bad. I mean, you've got some downpours south of you, a couple of small ones there in Monroe County, but overall, you're in a zone, though, that can fill in. So don't be surprised in the next few hours anyway. But you got a little bit of time here before that happens in that area. All right, so that's the radar trends for the weekend. Next week, it gets a little more interesting in multiple ways. We'll just use the Euro today as usual, and we'll get into the storyline for next week. Again, the bright gold color there is all your storm fuel, the Cape. Doesn't always mean storms, but that's just where the fuel is. And when you don't have any color over you at all, you just got that earth over you, or that earth shade over you, I should say, and your spot, that's an indicator that you're good. And look how much of the Northeast is good. Now, what you don't see here is the smoke. But again, we don't have a lot of data that goes far out on that, but we're monitoring that. Anyway, I think it'll stay mainly in the Northeast, but that flow with the high is going to be flowing in there as we get into Sunday and Monday. So we'll see how that scoots off to the east. It's not going to last very long for the end of the weekend here. We're going to get back to a return flow really quick. In fact, Paducah has already issued a heat advisory for Tuesday, all the way through Tuesday, for all of the West Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri region there. So they're betting on them just staying in the humidity the entire time. I don't think they're looking at much relief from the front at all. So Monday is going to be a hot, humid day. Humidity would be higher again west, but not much of a trigger yet on showers and storms other than your typical pop-up. So Monday should be a nice reset day, but it will be a good pull day on Monday. Invite me if you like. We get into Tuesday. Now, this is where we got to deal with the low moving across Canada. Good flow here. A loft that does build all the way along the boundary. Now, what is interesting is this is the Euro. The GFS is trying to develop an MCS Tuesday morning around Chicago that gets here by daybreak on Tuesday. Well, if we were to see an MCS Tuesday morning, that would certainly cut down our severe risk for Tuesday evening. It still could be strong. It's just we'd have to move the alert date. If the GFS is right, we'd have to move it in time period. But the Euro still likes late day on Tuesday. So there's still some iffiness there on whether or not we're going to have some development in that flow that comes in along this boundary as we head into Tuesday. Right now, the Tuesday afternoon evening looks more likely. So therefore, Tuesday looks to be another hot day before it gets here in the lower 90s, index over 100. Then the showers and storms take advantage of the Ohio Valley heat and humidity. They'll be all along this boundary, but I do think the Ohio Valley actually has a better chance at getting some active weather. And there you go. That shows up there as we did Tuesday night in the region. And then, now we're into the quiet zone as we get into Wednesday. But remember how I said how it's been looking like we're in the quiet zone for like 36 hours? Well, as always the case, weather changes. So the trend, at least since last night, is to extend that for the rest of the week. See, I told you that was gooder news. As we head into the end of the week, low humidity, lower 80s, 50s and 60s at night. Nice. Love it. Please bring it on. I hope it holds the weekend so Carson can get a weekend without dealing with severe weather chances. I saw Carson earlier, and he gave me a look like, I saw Saturday. Yeah, he's thrilled. He's actually really happy about it. So as we get into next weekend, I'm hoping it'll hold, and it could, because this is quite the extension that has happened in the last 24 hours. So if it holds, we could extend this into the weekend now, which will be awesome. Otherwise, we do get back into reality check. Yeah, we're going to get back to hot and humid weather, but it may take some time. CSU, by the way, for Tuesday, and I got SBC lined up next to it. SBC has got the severe risk all on the boundary, all the way into wave country. That's a day 5 outlook for slight. But CSU focuses it in the Ohio Valley. Now, again, we still got to watch the issue of whether or not we have early day storms or not, because as you guys are fully aware, you are a junior meteorologist, you understand all this. that is, if we get an active morning on radar, you don't have as much of an active evening. And that will certainly be the case here. So still some wiggle room, but right now we'll just keep it on Tuesday night and we'll monitor it and see how it goes. Otherwise, get ready for the gorgeous weather coming our ways. We into next week, highs in the lower 80s. The city of Louisville still likely to stay in the 60s, but a lot of you watching away from the city will drop down into the 50s for lows. We don't have to worry about a heat index from Wednesday probably into at least the start of the weekend. So I got rain chances in right now, but this is a stark improvement. Remember yesterday, what was the Euro doing? 99, 100. Next weekend, do you remember that? They had the one run that was a little off. Well, it's kind of back to that. So again, the data has been really struggling here with how strong this high is going to be, but it's looking fairly strong. And whether or not it brings in that northeast flow to bring in some smoke, I don't know yet. But that'll be the only little bummer to deal with. But hopefully it would just be something aloft and not so much at the ground level to mess with the air quality. Okay, what question is going to get you on this setup? Can we trend that for your birthday, please? And thank you. When's your birthday, Miss Idle? Or Miss Indy, sorry. I can't read the handles very well here. Hey, Crispy, hoping to keep the strong storms away from cheering for a washout Tuesday to get the fuel done. Yeah, it'd be nice to get some rain, just some downpours early in the day without severe weather only on Tuesday, and that would get rid of the severe risks. But we're going to go through a dry stretch. So I get what you're saying. If we go into 4 or 5 days of dry weather, we're back to watering again. No matter what happens in the next few days, it'll start to dry the ground out quick. But I think everyone's gonna be doing a lot of mowing. And if you got to mow, don't mow in this hot, humid stuff. It's nasty out there. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Wait until we get past this crummy pattern and then focus your yard work and mowing. That way you can enjoy a freshly cut lawn with it growing slowly after that. Otherwise, you're going to be mowing twice. Fall is coming. Snow is around the corner. Snow is around the corner. I like your way you're thinking, Chris. It won't be long. Now we know better than that, right? We know we get these little hints, and then actually know it's like heat index of 110 first week of September. Something weird like that. It's been a weird year. A lot of extremes going on, as you guys know, in the country. Weather pattern is just not moving very much in any one direction. So this is the most significant change next week that the pattern's had in a while. And Port Texas, they just need the air to move. Just move the air around, please, just to get storms to move out of there and stop flooding them. Let's see. 20-minute downpour, Brad says, there in Elizabeth, Indiana. The sun's out again already. Yeah. That's the thing. And boy, you're back quickly, right? That heat index just goes from, you may drop to like 80, but as soon as you're getting the heat back, boom, there you go. You're back to heat index in the mid 90s. It's just one of those days where you don't really see a lot of relief. I say rain, cooled air, but it's not really, it's a little misleading because it's still like a sauna when the rain ends. Hey, Kelly, I have a family coming in Monday night from Minnesota. They're driving. Other storm chasers are calling for Tuesday to be a volatile. I don't know if I would go volatile day. But family flying in at some point. As far as driving, that they'll be driving. If there's an MCS that forms in Chicago, yeah, they'll be driving right through it Monday night into Tuesday morning. Will it be wild and crazy with tornadoes everywhere? No, I don't see anything like that. But there will be, it's worth mentioning because someone's going to ask it, will there be a tornado threat with the Tuesday round? Yes, there is a chance more of a tornado potential with Tuesday than we'll have Saturday night. It's not overly high, but it does go back on the table Tuesday night. But if they're, if the MCS doesn't form, Kelly, if they get ahead of it, that'd be good. But they need to monitor what will happen in Chicago. That's key for them, is Chicago for that morning round. Not really our weather, but what Chicago will have. So have them make sure to monitor that. How many days until Christmas? Well, I know it's 5 months, right? Almost 5 months away. So what is that? 150 days, I believe. Not too long, right? Not too long. I haven't started my shopping yet. I need to. I'm always running behind. It took me 4 hours to mow. Ashley, yeah. I got to take those breaks. A lot of sweating. Again, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I would just wait. 160. Okay, 160. Thank you, Adam. I was trying to do quick math and I failed. All right, guys. I tell you what, I'm going to, I got to get going because a lot of the maps are updating right now coming in and the radar is active. So I got to need to pay attention to that. And I will continue to send out any alerts that we get on the app. If there's anything that looks threatening, we'll send that out to you guys. Otherwise, just be careful out there traveling today. And overall, the weekend does not look bad. We just got to watch Saturday night, and that's not a huge time period of inconvenience for you guys, I hope, anyway. So just be weather aware. Make sure to watch Carson tomorrow, especially in the sunset time period when he's on tomorrow night, as that will be a key period to see what's going on. And then Sunday, quiet. Monday looks quiet. Tuesday, not so quiet. And then we're back to quiet. So it's not a bad setup. It could be worse. That's for sure. All right. Take care, everybody. Stay safe out there, and we'll keep you updated with the alert day set up on Tuesday, especially coming up today at 3 o'clock. I will see you then.